From sex tapes and cheating accusations to bankruptcy and tax evasion, the Chrisley family may not always know best. During a March 2022 episode of the podcast Chrisley Confessions, Todd Chrisley made some rare comments about his first wife, Teresa Terry, who is the mother of Lindsie Chrisley and Kyle Chrisley. When Terry got pregnant with Lindsie, Todd said the extent of their relationship was a one-night stand. However, Terry previously told the Daily Mail that he and Terry dated before her pregnancy prodded the reluctant pair toward the altar. Todd said on his podcast, "I considered myself a hostage for 6 long, miserable years." But Terry claimed that she was the real victim in their relationship. In 1994, she detailed the alleged abuse she suffered at Todd's hands in a domestic violence complaint. According to the Daily Mail, she accused Todd of beating her on multiple occasions and threatening her with a knife. However, Terry dropped the charges during their divorce proceedings, and the exes were awarded joint custody of their kids. According to the Daily Mail, Terry said Todd allegedly hired a private investigator to find out where she lived after their divorce, and she caught him filming her. She further claimed that Todd ignored their court-ordered visitation schedule and kept the kids with him a majority of the time. In response to Terry's allegations, Todd later told the Sioux City Journal, "I couldn't have been too bad because the courts awarded me custody of my children." There's indisputable evidence that Julie and Todd Chrisley's daughter, Savannah Chrisley, is a beauty queen, having been crowned Miss Tennessee Teen USA in 2016. But according to Radar, there are no records supporting Julie's claim that she once won the Miss Carolina pageant, nor does such a title even appear to exist. Fortunately for Julie, she didn't need to capture a crown to capture Todd's heart. On Chrisley Confessions, he once reminisced about one of the first moments he laid eyes on her when she was working at a bank. Todd recalled, "I thought, this is the most beautiful woman I have ever seen in my life." However, Julie's former sister-in-law claimed to Radar that there was a scandalous detail about this love-at-first-sight story that Todd left out. Julie and her first husband, Kenneth Wayne Childress, were allegedly still married when she began dating Todd. Childress reportedly learned about the affair when he discovered a love letter from Todd to Julie. Todd Chrisley has a habit of referring to women in a derogatory manner. On Chrisley Knows Best, he recited this line from his nightly prayer,
"Lord, please protect my son from all hoes."
And when he wants to insult Savannah Chrisley's appearance, he sometimes implies that she looks like a stripper. In fact, he does it twice in the trailer for the first season of the show alone.
She goes from Virgin Mary to Stripperella. We need to find a happy medium.
Todd has also been accused of using similar language in the workplace. In 2009, 3 women who used to work for his company, Chrisley Asset Management, filed a lawsuit against him, claiming that he sexually harassed them and referred to women as escorts, strippers, swanky hoes, sluts, and prostitutes, as reported by Radar. The plaintiffs allege that Todd also made inappropriate comments about female employees' bodies, questioned them about their sex lives, and shared unwanted details about his own. The plaintiffs alleged in their legal filings, at virtually every staff meeting, Mr. Chrisley would make loud, sexually suggestive comments, as well as on a daily basis in the office. In a second lawsuit filed not long afterward, 3 different employees claimed that they were fired in retaliation for sharing their own stories about Todd's behavior when questioned for the first lawsuit. One plaintiff was a male employee who accused Todd of asking him to perform a sex act with him in the bathroom. According to Radar, the cases were settled out of court. Todd Chrisley filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy in 2012. In a 2017 interview with WSB-TV Atlanta 2, Jason Petty, the court trustee assigned to Todd's bankruptcy filing, said that he was shocked when he saw the Chrisleys showing off their lavish lifestyle on their reality TV series, which premiered on the USA Network in 2014. Petty also suspected that Todd and Julie Chrisley were possibly engaging in fraudulent behavior by trying to hide assets from the court. Their attorney claimed that most of the couple's debt, which totaled almost $50 million, was from a failed real estate deal, according to People. When the Chrisleys went to trial for tax fraud and other financial crimes in 2022, the prosecution accused Todd of filing for bankruptcy to wash his hands of $20 million of said debt, which he and Julie had allegedly acquired through fraudulently obtained loans, per Insider. According to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the USA Network was reportedly aware of the Chrisleys' money woes before their show aired. To keep up appearances and back up his boast that he spends hundreds of thousands of dollars on clothing each year, Todd fought to prevent his designer duds from being seized by the bankruptcy court trustee by seemingly downplaying his wardrobe's value. He also offered to purchase his clothing back if it was taken, per Radar. In 2012, Lindsie Chrisley filed a police report accusing her brother Chloe Chrisley of punching her in the face, according to Radar, and he was later charged with a misdemeanor. It was just one of the many hurts Lindsie apparently suffered while growing up Chrisley. Lindsay's difficulties began when Todd Chrisley and his new wife Julie Chrisley decided to expand their family. Julie adopted her, but living with her stepmom and half-siblings made Lindsie feel alienated. Unfortunately, her relationship with her father deteriorated as she got older, and she ultimately disappeared from the show. Todd was furious when Lindsie married Will Campbell, telling E! News that Campbell failed to ask him for Lindsay's hand in marriage. This was a huge strike against his son-in-law, Todd said.
But Lindsie should have never condoned that disrespect.
While Todd refused to speak to Campbell, Lindsie said that their contentious relationship was not why she left the show. Rather, it was an alleged verbal altercation with her stepmother. Lindsie said on Dr. Phil,
"The environment was volatile and I didn't want to be around it. I just felt like it was the best thing for my family and for my well-being."
But on Chrisley Confessions, Todd claimed that Lindsay's behavior during the incident got her kicked off the show. Todd said on the podcast, "Lindsie was the aggressor. Lindsie provoked it." Chloe Chrisley found herself at the center of a bitter family feud when she was just a baby. Chloe is the daughter of Todd Chrisley's oldest son, Kyle Chrisley, and Angela Johnson. In an interview with Life and Style, Johnson said that Kyle struggled with excessive substance use and accused him of violent behavior. She alleged, "He was talking about stabbing me, then threw a bottle of pills and hit me and Chloe right in the face with them." Kyle's parents and Johnson were granted joint custody of Chloe, and she started appearing on Chrisley Knows Best with her grandparents. As for Kyle, Todd explained his absence from the show by saying that he sent his son to Africa to work as a volunteer. Per Life and Style, Todd seemed to believe that this would help Kyle with his drug addiction. In 2014, Kyle shared his side of the story with the Daily Mail, denying Johnson's accusations and expressing his displeasure over Chloe's reality TV career. He alleged, "My dad showed no interest in Chloe at all until the show." But Todd claimed that Kyle was only angry because he wasn't being paid for Chloe's work. When Kyle threatened to take his father to court over the matter, Chloe disappeared from the show in 2016. However, after a 2-season absence, Chloe rejoined the cast for season 6. In a 2017 Good Morning America interview, Kyle Chrisley claimed that Todd Chrisley boasted about skipping out on his Georgia tax bill. At the time, Todd was under investigation for tax evasion. He was suspected of claiming that his residence was in Florida, not Georgia, to avoid paying state taxes. Kyle said of his father,
"I'd like to see him held accountable."
In 2019, the Chrisleys settled their tax case with the Georgia Department of Revenue. While they were thought to owe the state over $2 million from 2008 to 2016, it was discovered that the couple had actually overpaid their taxes on half of the years they were under scrutiny. There was only 1 year that they did not pay what they owed, but they were still ordered to fork over nearly $150,000 to the state, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. However, the Chrisleys are still being investigated for federal financial crimes and facing a far more severe punishment when Kyle's Good Morning America interview came back to haunt him. In an August 2019 Facebook post, Kyle tried to back up the bus that he had admittedly thrown his parents under in 2017, writing in part, "Everything I said in my interview was a lie." He explained that he was using drugs at the time and was fearful of Todd sending him back to rehab, something his dad couldn't try to do if he was behind bars. As their financial integrity was called into question, the Chrisleys engaged in a lot of familial finger-pointing. In that same Facebook post, Kyle Chrisley accused his sister, Lindsie Chrisley, and their biological mother, Teresa Terry, of reporting Todd and Julie Chrisley to the Georgia Department of Revenue. Todd also believed that Lindsie was to blame. He said on Chrisley Confessions in 2021, "We now know that Lindsie went to Kyle and said, 'If you want to get custody of Chloe back, I can help you.' Their goal was to cause Julie and I to go to jail." Todd confirmed that his and Julie's imprisonment would result in Kyle regaining custody of his daughter, Chloe. And he also claims that Lindsie had an ulterior motive for cooperating with the Georgia Department of Revenue, saying, "Lindsay's goal was to shut down the show because she had been removed from it. And if she wasn't making any money, the family shouldn't make any money."
Did you want to bring Chrisley Knows Best down in flames?
No.
Todd and Julie did allege to have text messages proving that Lindsie had been in regular contact with a Georgia Department of Revenue employee named Joshua Waits. However, the news station WSB-TV2 Atlanta appeared to take credit for putting the Chrisleys on the Georgia Department of Revenue's radar, pointing out that the tax investigation began after it published a report about the family's financial activities. In a statement shared in 2019, Lindsie's attorney denied claims that she was also responsible for her parents' arrest in the federal tax case. Hell hath no fury like a Chrisley scorn. After Joshua Waits, the former director of the Georgia Department of Revenue's Office of Special Investigations, spent months communicating with Lindsie Chrisley, Todd and Julie Chrisley decided to take him to court. The couple accused Waits of acting improperly in 2019 by relentlessly badgering Lindsie in an effort to build a relationship with her. Waits' behavior also came under scrutiny by the Office of the Inspector General in Atlanta, which found that Waits had engaged in inappropriate behavior by trying to gain access to the Chrisleys' bank information through incorrect means and bragging about seizing their property. The Chrisleys' lawyer said in a statement to E! News, there was credible evidence to show Todd Chrisley was unfairly targeted for investigation. By that time, Waits had resigned from the Department of Revenue for an unrelated reason. According to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, it was discovered that he had lied about his college degree. Todd made certain to let his Instagram followers know that one of his enemies had been removed from the game board in 2020 and vowed to continue going after the Georgia Department of Revenue. However, another ex-Department of Revenue employee, Amy Doherty Hines, fought back in 2021, filing a libel lawsuit against Todd for making false accusations about her on his podcast and on social media. Per the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, one alleged example Doherty Hines referenced was an Instagram post in which Todd accused her and other Department of Revenue employees of taking a trip to Disney World on the taxpayer's dime. The Fed started looking into Todd Chrisley's shady financial dealings when one of the reality show star's ex-business partners, Mark Braddock, decided to come clean. Braddock admitted to helping Todd and Julie Chrisley defraud financial institutions, but this wasn't the most shocking confession he made about the Chrisleys during their 2022 bank fraud and tax evasion trial. Braddock also claimed that Todd was having an extramarital affair with him.
But when you get married, marriage is supposed to be forever. And anytime a third party gets involved, it's not a good thing.
He further claimed that someone had gained knowledge of their alleged relationship and used it to blackmail them into forking over $38,000. Braddock explained that his feelings for Todd lingered after their purported year-long affair ended, which is why he agreed to help Todd with his illegal financial schemes. Todd appeared to reference Braddock without mentioning his name in an August 2019 Instagram post. The reality star was seemingly trying to take control of the narrative before his indictment was issued by attempting to place all of the blame on Braddock. Todd wrote, in part, "It all started back in 2012, when we discovered that a trusted employee of ours had been stealing from us big time. I won't go into details, but it involved all kinds of really bad stuff, like creating phony documents, forging our signatures, and threatening other employees with violence if they said anything." In a 2019 appearance on Dr. Phil, Lindsie Chrisley said that she was expecting an apology from Todd Chrisley when she agreed to meet her estranged father at a restaurant. But according to Lindsie, he was not there to make amends. His purported goal was to get her to help him avoid jail by any means necessary. Lindsie recalled that Todd was acting paranoid, and he allegedly accused her of having an affair with someone involved in a federal investigation into his financial activities. When Lindsie tried to steer the conversation toward Todd's treatment of her on social media, he apparently dropped a bombshell. Lindsie said on the show, "That's when I got the warning that Chase had incriminating evidence against me, nude photos, and had obtained this tape for $5,000. Lindsie later filed a police report accusing Todd of extortion. But on Dr. Phil, Lindsie said that what her father allegedly wanted her to lie about in exchange for not releasing the tape and photos was confusing to her, because it was related to the Georgia Department of Revenue's investigation, not the federal trial. She also stated that she didn't know if the alleged sex tape existed, saying that it would have been footage captured on a puppy camera without her knowledge. Todd denied Lindsie's story, telling TMZ, "Although our hearts are broken, Lindsie is our daughter, and we will always love her." Todd Chrisley fired back with some accusations of his own in response to Lindsie Chrisley's claim that he was trying to extort her, and they involved the two men who appeared on The Bachelorette. In 2019, Todd told Fox News, "We have tried to keep Lindsie's extramarital relationships with Robbie Hayes and Josh Murray private for her sake since August of 2016. Sadly, she ran to the sheriff's office to accuse her brother of buying a sex tape of her and Robbie, which was a complete lie." By dropping those names, Todd subsequently shifted some of the media's focus away from himself himself. Murray responded to Todd's remarks by telling ET that he and Lindsie were longtime friends, and he had some advice for the members of the Chrisley family, who seemingly benefited from Lindsie becoming the subject of salacious headlines. He told ET, they should probably focus on how not to be imprisoned for 30 years rather than spreading gossip to try and hurt their daughter. As for Hayes, on the Believe in Behind Bravo podcast, he confessed that he and Lindsie got caught in the act on a puppy cam, but TMZ learned that the camera didn't record any hanky-panky. Hayes also expressed his support for Lindsie, telling Us Weekly that the two of them were closer than ever. In August 2019, Todd and Julie Chrisley turned themselves into authorities after being indicted for financial crimes. Per the United States Department of Justice website, U.S. Attorney Byung Jae Park said, Todd and Julie Chrisley are charged not only with defrauding a number of banks by fraudulently obtaining millions of dollars in loans, but also with allegedly cheating taxpayers by actively evading paying federal taxes on the money they earned.
That's all I need. I need to make my money.
The couple's trial began in May 2022, and Lindsie Chrisley testified on their behalf. Per Insider, she retracted her claims about Todd extorting her with a sex tape and tried to paint him as a compassionate family man. But that June, Todd and Julie were found guilty of their crimes. On November 22, 2022, Todd received a 12-year prison sentence, while Julie was handed a lesser sentence of 7 years. Both of their sentences also included a 3-year term of supervised release. In true Chrisley fashion, the couple vowed to continue fighting by appealing the case. If you or someone you know is dealing with domestic abuse, you can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. You can also find more information, resources, and support at their website.